Hello, good morning. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties this morning, so hopefully you will join in a moment. So before I start, I will let you to just find this new link, and then you can join us. Okay, here you are. Hi. Okay, so happy we're back. This is our last lecture, final lecture, the 6th lecture out of, in this seminar of Svadhyaya Intensive. As always, we will start with preparing the mind, short practice. And then today we have an exciting day because so far we have mostly investigated the nature of the little sva. We saw the temporary things, and today we have to go deeper into investigating the nature of the big sva of ourselves. Hi, Maria. Hi, Maya. Good morning. So we have to actually today self-realize completely who we are. So this is exciting moment. So it will arrive a little bit later, but first let us start with preparing the mind. So please sit in a comfortable way. You can close your eyes. Okay, so yeah, there was some technical problems in the beginning, but now it's okay. Okay, so just close your eyes, sit in a comfortable way. Make sure the body is comfortable, that the breath is subtle. And check the quality of your mind, how it is this morning. Is it agitated for movement? Is it tired? Is it calm and focused? And then when you feel ready, gently direct your attention to the breath. And see how easily you can do it now. You already know that you can control attention. And see that the moment your attention is on the breath, you become aware of the inhale and exhale. And our goal is just to follow this, to make sure we know in every given moment if we are inhaling or exhaling. And see also that the breath is an object that you perceive. See that you are the perceiver. And see the qualities of the object, of the breath. See that each inhale, each exhale has a beginning, a duration, and an end. And then start to notice that sometimes maybe your attention goes away to other objects, whether there are sounds or thoughts or feelings in the body. And when you notice something coming between you and the breath, first see that this is also an object. Only now, instead of perceiving the breath, you perceive a different object. And see also that the nature of this new object that took your attention away is also temporary. It was not there before, now it is here. And then just remind yourself that since this is not the breath, you are not going to keep your attention on this new object. And then just release your attention and return to the breath. and see how the former object disappeared. It is temporary, and now the breath is your new object of perception, and you can follow the inhale and the exhale. And see that doesn't matter which object you are aware of, if it is the breath or some distraction, you are still the perceiver. You stay the same, you continue to perceive whatever object there is. And so we continue in silence, about 10 minutes, and then we continue. Continue directing again and again. Attention back to the breath, and see that whatever object you perceive, you continue to be the perceiver. all the time. And see how the objects, they keep changing unless you go back to the breath. And gently release your attention. Take a few deep breaths and check the quality of your mind before you open your eyes. And then when you feel ready, please open your eyes. Okay. So it's good to be here again. I hope you found the teaching able to investigate the things as they are and see the difference. And then we've been practicing this part, which is the tapas that needs some effort. That needs the effort. There is a problem with the... I think it's okay. Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's a crazy start, but it's okay. I hope all of us are here. No, it's okay. Okay. So anyway, we've done the part of the effort, the tapas that was needed to prepare the mind, and I hope that by now you already feel it, that you can really work with the mind, and you can really work with the mind, and you can feel this control of the attention improving, and that you start to realize that yeah, when you want, you can direct it and you can use it to see the things as they are. And then we started the process of Svadhyaya, and we started with, of course, investigating into the nature of the little sva, of what is visible, and then we saw that actually the whole nature of phenomena is the same. All of it is temporary. It has a beginning, a duration, and an end, and it is changing all the time. And we saw it also, like we checked on the breath, we checked on sounds. It will be everything that we perceive. If we want to check, we will see that everything is an object of perception, and it has the same nature. And then we went, of course, also inside to see all what we usually think that is us, is the thoughts, the ideas, the emotions, identities, all of these things, that we can perceive them also. These are also objects of perception. And like all other objects, it has a beginning, a duration, and an end, and it is changing all the time. So all of this, there is a whole world which maybe we used to think that is us, with our feelings and thoughts and ideas and characteristics, but actually all of them, they go in the same place of objects of perceptions, and all of them have the temporary and changing nature. And we were able to see that even when these phenomena are not there, for example, a thought or a feeling ends, we are still there. So we were able to see this difference between the things. And today we have to go a little bit deeper into realizing the nature of the big sva, because, and this is a little bit different process, because the little sva, the world of phenomena, of objects, is very easy to perceive. We only have to put attention on it, and we will see it clearly, because it's an object like any other objects in space. But the perceiver is actually difficult to perceive, because it is not an object. If I put it in front of my eyes and I say, oh, this is the perceiver, then I am still the perceiver, and this turned to be an object again. So to perceive the perceiver, we have to do a very special process, a little bit different than what we've done so far. And in a moment, we're going to go into that. Okay, I see. I don't know what is not so steady in the broadcast today, but we're here and we manage. So I hope it's okay for you. And thank you for being patient. So before we go into the investigation of the nature of ourself, I want to say a few things about how we live and why we suffer so much. It is very interesting to see that we've been taught, or in a way, all of us are naturally looking in this life for stability, for security, for peace, equanimity, freedom. We are looking for to connect to ourselves. We are looking for a lot of things in this life, and they taught us a lot of ways or things that will make us reach freedom. And they told us, oh, if you had a lot of money, you will be free. Or if you will marry and have children, you will have stability. And if you want to connect to yourself, you have to, I don't know, connect to your emotions and stuff like that. We have a lot of ideas of how to reach or achieve freedom and stability and connection and all of these things, and we do all of it. But if we look at the results, we will see that even though we thought that relationship will bring us security, actually what we experience many times is the opposite of security. We feel free or insecure in the relationship, and they told us that money will give us some freedom, but actually we see that we become slaves of the money. So they taught us to look for things in objects that cannot give us these qualities like freedom or stability. And why it cannot give us? Because it's not in the nature. Even a house seems to me a very stable thing. Of course, it is a temporary phenomena. And although relationship, I say, oh, I have settled down and now I am stable. Still, the nature of relationship is also a temporary and changing nature. Or they tell us, try to find a peace of mind, but the mind is not a peaceful place. It's not a peaceful thing. It's a thing that changes all the time and creates more ideas and emotions and stuff. So we've been looking in this life for things that cannot be found in this life. It cannot be found in the temporary and changing nature. And I think that this period that we live now shows us this very clearly, because so many things that we thought that were stable and constant in our life, we discovered that actually they are not so much. And that for me, this period of time, just like Prakriti, you remember the world of changing stuff, only showed us, oh, look at my nature. See me in my glory, how I change, how temporary I am. Never are you going to find stability and security in the world of objects. Never. And it doesn't matter if it's material objects or objects like thoughts and ideas. And even if we many try to reach some kind of happiness or expansion, and we try to hold this as it's going to be, this is finally we have reached a place we are finally happy. We can be sure that this happiness will not stay. This is also a temporary thing. So all the efforts we've put so far into trying to achieve these things in this life is, there is no point in it. We will always be disappointed. We will always discover that things change, although we thought we have reached some kind of stable point. But it's not such a big problem, because it only means that we have been looking in the wrong place. Okay? Don't look for stability and security and peace of mind here in this world of objects. If you want to find all these things, we have to go to the place where the place which is not an object, the place that has no beginning, duration, and an end. And luckily, this place is actually us, the perceivers. And in this practice that we did now, I invited you to see that doesn't matter which objects appear before you, you're always the perceiver, even when you are focused on the breath, and even when you are, when your attention went to somewhere else, you are still the perceiver. You're a perceiver of the breath. You are the perceiver of this new object that came, this distraction, but you stay the same. So if we are looking for stability, we can find it only in our true nature, in this big sva. And what is also nice about this is that actually this is something that doesn't have to be found, or we cannot find it, because it is not an object. We can only discover it or allow it to show. But something that is stable and is always there and is us, is there all the time. So we don't have to go looking for it or trying to find it or to gain it from somewhere. Only we have to discover it. And what is the way to discover it? Patnjali talks about it really, really nice. You remember the Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha? that the beginning of yoga is with the Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the cessation of the movements of the mind. This is the second sutra in the first chapter. And then in the third sutra, he says something beautiful. He says, when the Chitta Vritti is in Nirodha, when there is no more movement of the mind, then the perceiver is, we can, well, I don't want to say perceived, but can be seen and can be, is in a way, it's not even manifesting, but can be, it's not even can be seen, I don't know the word in English, but is being discovered or shows, or shines. Oh, shine is a good word. So when the Chitta Vritti, when the movements of the mind cease, and then the perceiver shines, then you can see it. And what does it mean? I like to give a very simple example to understand this. Imagine that there is like a bulb of light. This emanates light. And this for this example, this will be our sva. Us who are always there, we saw it, we are always there. And and it's we can always perceive. We are our nature is constant. We are always there, but with life, the mind starts to create a lot of movement, a lot of chitta vrittis, a lot of movement of the mind, and it is like covering this sva. And we can even see that it's not only that the mind creates a lot of thoughts and ideas, it is also that we start to identify ourselves with these thoughts and emotions and ideas and identities. So it's like we forget, or we cannot see anymore our natural nature, our true nature, our sva. And what becomes very clear, or what we start to perceive as ourself, is the thing that is covering us. In our example, it is the chitta vritti, the movements of the mind, the different ideas, thoughts, emotion, identifications, characteristic, and so on. And in this example, if this is still a light bulb, then it's like a light bulb that is covered with mud. Slowly, slowly it is covered, and the more it is covered, then of course the less you see the light, until it is completely covered. So this is what has been happening to us in this life. We have been completely covered with ideas of who we are that are completely different than who we are, that actually block the view of who we really are. So it is as if we are covered with mud. Every time we associate ourselves or identify ourselves with something that is temporary, it is like we don't see our true nature. So imagine how deep this avidya goes, because it means that every time I think that I am my body, I am actually identifying myself with something which is not me. It's like this is my identification with the body is the mud over me. But this is so natural for us to identify ourselves with the body, because we have been taught this way since the moment we were born. And then every time, sorry, one moment. Every time we identify ourselves with characteristics, like I am shy, I am anxious, I am depressed, I am suicidal, whatever. It's like, again, we do not see who we are, and we identify ourselves with the covers, with the ideas of the mind. But this is so different than who we are. This is mud on us. And then every time we identify ourselves with our profession, saying, I am a yoga teacher, or I am a mother, I am a father, all of this, again, it is as if we are covering ourselves with mud, and we see less and less of who we really are. So imagine how deep it is. The idea that we are all these temporary things. It seems almost unreal for us, the idea that maybe there is something else, that we are not these things. So we reach the point where we are completely covered in mud. And in the yoga, this point, before yoga, before we reach yoga, this point that we associate ourselves with all these temporary things, and we look for stability and we never find it, and we look for freedom, but the mind doesn't stop talking and we cannot escape, and we're looking for ourselves and we don't know who we are, and we are stuck in this and we start to suffer. So for the yoga, this is a very good point, because this has been the purpose, to become completely covered with mud, completely forgetting who we are. And in this point, this avidya, this lack of knowledge of who we are, starts to be a source of suffering, because we can never get what we want from this. From as long as we think we are this, we never find what we are, and we start to suffer. And then we start looking for a solution, and we start this journey of yoga. And then what do we do in yoga? What is this process of Svadhyaya? We start a process of purification, or we can call it viyoga. You remember, some yoga is when these are together, and viyoga is we start to separate. So we start to, like a process of purification, starting to distinguish between what is temporary and what is not. And every time we see something which is temporary, we take it away. And if we remember the sutras, Patnjali said in the second sutra, first chapter, the chitta vritti nirodha, when the movement of the mind comes to an end. In other words, when you see something temporary, like a movement of the mind, bring it to an end. Let it end. Let it, put it aside, because this is a temporary thing, then is different than you. So then we start to take aside some stuff. You know, we put, we let one movement to end and another one, and we start to take the mud out, and we start to say, oh, if this is temporary, then this is not me. And we start to erase or take away some mud. What happens in this beautiful drawing of a light bulb? If there is light inside and I started to take the mud away, then of course the light will start to emanate or to shine. Yeah? And I start to discover that actually there is something there under the mud, and it is as if this the light has started to shine. But did it start? It was there all the time, so it doesn't have a beginning. It's not like an object that has a beginning and a duration and an end. It has been there all the time. Only I have removed the mud, so it started to be evident. I was able to perceive it, but not because it is an object of itself, only because the mud that was covering it went away, and then I discovered what was underneath. So when the movement of the mind started to cease, less and less movement, then it's like less and less mud, and then we start to realize there is the perceiver. We start to see it shining, or we discover it, but not like an object, like something that was always there, but only covered. And this is the third sutra in the first chapter, saying, then you can realize the perceiver. He was always there, or you can realize your true nature. You were always there, the same, exactly the same, only you were covered with a lot of things that were different than yourself. So the whole process is only to uncover, to take away things that are different than who we are. And how do we know that things are different than who we are, or what are the things that we are going to put aside? Everything that is an object of perception, everything that is temporary and changing, we can say this is not us, because I can see that this is an object and I am the perceiver. Then if this is an object and it has the characteristic of being temporary and changing, then this is not me. I put it aside. And even in this example, sometimes it's helpful to use the hands. I am the perceiver. This is the object. I put the object away. The perceiver is still there. And then another object will come. Again, I will see something, maybe different emotions, different ideas, thoughts, imagination, doesn't matter. But the moment it ends, again, only the perceiver will be left. So this is what we are going to do now. I hope this example is clear. If not, please ask questions. What we have to do now is actually to start to let go of everything that has this temporary and changing nature, everything that is a chitta vritti, that is a movement of the mind, until we are left with something. And whatever is left, this will be the perceiver, this will be us, and then we will have the realization of the big sva, of our true nature. Okay? For me, this is one of the most interesting things in yoga, because we don't have to go searching outside for something. We only have to take away things that cover. It's like much easier. And then we will see that when we discover ourselves, we will see that actually the stability we wanted is here. The freedom that we wanted is here. The well-being, the equanimity, everything is already here in our nature. It is never something we have to develop, because everything we will try to develop will be temporary and changing. So it has only to be discovered or rediscovered. And in a way, also, maybe it's a little bit early to say, but I like this idea also. When we realize that this nature of us is unchanging nature and is always there, only sometimes covered and sometimes not, but is always there, we also understand that actually we don't need to put any effort in being this, because we are always this. So the only effort is, if we want to see ourselves, is to bring the chitta vritti to nirodha, to let the movement of the mind end. That is all. But anyway, we are always already stable, already free, already in this peaceful place, already without movement. This is already our nature. So nothing has to be gained, only things has to be removed or purified in order to be discovered. And even imagine in this example, imagine you wanted to see if the light is on, and you took the mud away and you realize the light is always on. Now when you recover it with mud, does it matter? You will not be confused again. You will know that the mud doesn't do harm to the light. So even if it is already full with mud again, you still know that the light is still shining. And for me, this is something very nice to remember, that even in the worst moments in my life, when everything becomes a mess and dark and that mind is very tamasic or very rajasic, I still know that my sva is always the same, stable and clear. And if I want to, and I don't even need to reassure myself of that, but if I wanted to see it, I only know that I have to, practice a little bit for a few days, let go of all the temporary things, and I will discover myself as always, permanent, unchanging, in this state of, the yoga calls it kaivalya, alone, pure, not associated with anything. And this can never be lost. So for me, one of the most wonderful things about understanding who we are, that is not something we have to look for, and it can never be lost. And sometimes it's even enough to just discover it 1-2 times, realize this is how we are, can never be lost or changed or harmed, and then we don't need again and again to discover it. It's already our knowledge. We have already changed the vidya that we had. Okay, so if you're ready, let's go to in search of our big sva. If you find it difficult, don't worry, then just continue your daily practice, and then slowly, with the time, you will be more familiar with the using attention and holding and releasing, and then you will see you will be able also to discover this sva very easily. So please close your eyes, sit in a comfortable way. Take a few moments to arrange your body and the breath. Again, check the quality of your mind. And then when you feel ready, gently direct your attention to the breath. Start to be aware of the breath. See the beginning, the duration, and the end of every inhale and exhale. See that the breath is an object that you perceive, and you are the perceiver of the object. You are the one who is aware. And now follow each breath, inhale and exhale until it ends. And when an inhale ended, stay for a second without this movement of inhale and check, are you still there? Or what is left without the movement of the inhale? And then start the movement of the exhale. See the beginning, the duration, and the end. And at the end of the exhale, wait for a moment. See that now there is no object, no inhale or exhale. And check, where are you or who are you? Are you still there? What is left without inhale, without exhale? And see that in these moments when there is no exhale, no inhale, no movement, no object, you are still there. And see that you are empty at that moment, empty of inhale, empty of exhale. And continue to focus your attention on the breath and see you who is perceiving, the perceiver, the one who is aware, you are always there. And then when the inhale or exhale starts, it's like a wave or an object appearing before you and disappearing. But see, for the whole process, before, during, and after, you are still there. And check, do you depend? Your existence depends if there's inhale or exhale. Does it change because of that? And see, that doesn't matter whether it's inhale or exhale or what happens. You are there all the time, empty. Only the breath is appearing and disappearing, and you're all the time there in the same way, only perceiving. So 1 minute to see that you can see it for yourself. And then release your attention from the breath and move your attention to the sense of hearing, to the sounds around you. And see that immediately you become aware of sounds. And if there are no sounds around you, you can use my voice as a sound. And see here again that the sounds are an object of perception, and all of them have a beginning, a duration, and an end. And now check what is left at the end of a sound. Or if you see a sound and you recognize it as being temporary and changing, then let go of it. Don't hold it as yourself. Let it go and check what is left at the end of the sound, or after all sounds are gone. What is left? And see that even, or when all sounds will be gone, or at the end of every sound, you are still there. You are still aware. You are still the perceiver, whether there are sounds or no sounds. But at the end of sound, when there is nothing covering you, you can for a moment realize that you are the perceiver. And see that you are empty of sounds. Sounds come and go, they cover you and go, but you are always there, empty of sounds. Check. And then release your attention from the sounds. If you need to release your body for a moment, please do. If you feel okay. Now we move to investigate the mental waves or objects, because they are the ones that are giving us the hardest time. But we start with many times to practice first on gross things and then to go to the more delicate or more subtle. So close your eyes again. And now become aware of your mental activity or mental movement. And it can be in the form of thoughts or ideas, imaginations, memories, emotions, different sensations. If you don't have something very evident, you can create by yourself. Just create different thoughts. For example, oh, I forgot to do something, or I need to do this. And then create some different emotion. Bring a nice memory and see that this feeling of expansion comes. Or then think of somebody that annoyed you and see this contraction coming. You can easily create different mental activity or mental movement. And see that whatever mental movement you create, it is always an object of perception. and you're the perceiver. But whatever emotions, ideas, feelings, thoughts are all objects of perception. And see that all of them have a beginning, a duration, and an end, but empty of the thought or empty of the feeling. And then when a new feeling or thought or idea comes, again, it colors you. It's like covering you. But at the end of it, what is there? What is left? And then just continue being aware of mental activity. And whenever you see something that is temporary, which is an object of perception, that just tell yourself, well, this is not me. And then just let it go. Do the process of releasing your attention from it, letting it go, and see what is left. So if anger is something temporary and changing, if we let go of anger and we are empty of anger, what is left? And if fear is an object of perception and it is temporary and changing and we let go of it because we know it is different than us, then what is left? What are we without fear, without anger? What are we without our identities? If I know that I am Galit, I am this body, I am a yoga teacher, are all objects of perception. If I let them go, what is left without them? And think of all your struggles, all the life. These struggles, were they objects of perception? Were they temporary and changing? If so, let them go. What are you without all your struggles? Without all the memories and the traumas? What is left? If we let go of all the temporary things, because we understand they are objects of perceptions, but they are different than us, so no point to hold them. What remains? Let go of everything that is an object. If an object comes, check. This is an object, let it go. What is left? And then gently release your attention. Take a few deep breaths, and when you feel ready, open your eyes. Okay. So welcome back. I see there was some technical problems. I don't know what's going on today, but we managed. So hopefully you were able to follow this practice. As I said, this might be a little bit delicate, but I will explain again what it is that we are doing. So what we are actually practicing is what is called vairagya. Vairagya is letting go. Or you remember Abhyasa and Vairagya? So Abhyasa was to hold to something and Vairagya is to let go. So if we want to discover ourselves, we have to do Vairagya, we have to let go of everything that has the nature of being temporary, changing, and object of perception. And then it means that all our emotions and struggles and ideas, all of them, we let go, we don't hold them. It's not that they're not going to be there, they're going to be there, but we are going to let go of them. And then the more we, and then we check and we say, okay, here is anger, but anger is an object of perception. I let go of the anger. What am I left with? What am I without the anger? What am I without the shame, without the regret? What am I without the desire? Because desire is also something that is temporary and changing. So we let go of everything that we have as an object, or everything that we see as an object. And what is left at the end? What was your experience? If you can write, it will be nice. What I see saying, very powerful practice. Thank you. So if you have some impressions from the practice, but I can tell you what we discover is that we are empty, that we are actually empty from all our struggles, from all our complexes and traumas and memories, because all of them are objects, and we are empty of everything that we felt that ever restricted us or whatever was covering us. So we realize our, like, in a way, that we are just this empty space where there is in a way silence, there is stability because it doesn't change, there is a lot of course space, empty space, and super practice, Marika says. And well, we just realized that we are okay, that all whatever was bothering us, it's like no having me. Yes, Nieves. Even the me is something that we can see and letting go. So we actually realize our freedom, and this freedom of everything that was bothering us or we've been struggling with in this life, this freedom is what is called kaivalya, and is now, if you remember that the purpose of yoga is to take us out of suffering, now I can ask you, then do we need to end suffering? To go beyond suffering, do we need to end suffering? Think about it for a minute. Okay? It feels like there is a present within that is an untouchable. It feels like there is a present within that is untouchable. Yeah. So I hope I understood the sentence. Yeah. Yeah. So what we realize is that we don't even need to go to stop suffering, or the way out of suffering is not by stopping suffering. It is by realizing ourselves that we are empty of suffering, because even if suffering is there, it is still always will be an object of perception. And when we check, we will see that we are actually empty of suffering, and we have never suffered. Suffering was an object that appeared and disappeared, but we stayed the perceivers, empty, free of suffering. And this is the end of suffering in yoga. And I know many times it's like we are waiting for life not to show us any suffering or any difficulty, but this is impossible, because when we lose something we like, our system will contract, And when we get something we didn't want, our system will contract. So there will always be this dukkha. Remember this contraction of the inner space? This is unavoidable. This movement of expansion and contraction is part of life. But we realize that we are actually empty of this movement. We are this stable, empty space, which in this movement appears in it, but doesn't affect it. So we are always free of suffering, even if we experience suffering in this world. And this is the end of yoga. This is the Kaivalya where yoga wanted to take us. Understand that you are always free. Freedom is not in the world of objects or the world of some happiness or something that we hold in the mind. The freedom is the understanding that our true nature is free and different and empty of all the objects there are. So I hope this is clear. Let's see. Nothing to stop. Very good. To let go of the suffering, let go of it, and turn back to emptiness. Return to emptiness. Yes, Anat. And even when the suffering is there, I am still empty of it. So in a way, when we have this realization as deep knowledge inside of us, we already, even when we suffer, we do not suffer because we are well established in the big Sva. And if you have any question, please ask. But if we now understand the whole process that we did, we had the big Sva and the little Sva. So in the beginning, we were established here. We were certain that we are this little Sva. So if you look, you will see that all of our life, we were busy trying to perfect this Sva and trying to fight with it and not liking ourselves because this was not like we thought it should be. So we tried to be less like this and more like this. And we were judging ourselves because we were not able to change. And we tried to always find some kind of peace of mind, but we were never able to do it. And we were looking for freedom and stuff. And all of it in this world, and all of it because we thought that this is us. So we had to make this feel better. But then in this process, we realized, oh, this actually is, well, maybe it's our vehicle in the world, but this is not us. This is us. And this us is already perfect. It already has everything that we wished for. It has the freedom, it has the stability, it has the emptiness, it has all the possibilities. It is not bound by anything. It is, and there is this, well, if we want to give a feeling, but it's not a feeling, what the yoga calls it ananda, or it gives it gives a characteristic of this place. It says this place, when is experienced, but it's not experienced as an object, but discovered, like we did now, is Sat Chit Ananda. Which means here there is Sat. Sat is existence. So this is, or like truth. But this is like to say, this is the true existence. Why true existence? Look at this. Because this is always there. This has a temporary existence. Our identification, our body, our thoughts, our emotions, they have a temporary existence. So they are not the thing that really exists in a way. This is why they say the world is a maya, is a illusion. Not because it doesn't exist, but because its existence is temporary. It's not the fundamental thing that is always there. So this is this will not be Sat. This will be a temporary thing. But this Sva that is always there, this is Sat. This is what there is eventually. This will come and go. This will stay forever. This is the reality. This is the true existence. So this is why they say in this place there is Sat. And then they say Chit. Remember Chit? Chit is the awareness. And we were the perceiver. And we were able to see it. In this place, there is perception all the time. There is a perceiver there all the time. What we perceive, all the objects, they come and go, but this perceiver is there all the time. So there is existence, awareness, this chit, this perceiver, and Ananda means many times they translate it as bliss, but this is a special bliss. This long A means something that is eternal. So eternal. So it's like to say it's an unending bliss. And what is the difference between like happiness and this unending or unconditioned bliss? We all know we usually in this life, we look for happiness. We look for sukha. Remember this expansion. But this expansion is always temporary and it is always conditioned. And this is one of the reasons we suffer so much, because we all the time try to gain it and we cannot always do it. So I want my boyfriend to talk nicely to me, and I want, I don't know, the weather to be nice, and I want the food to be good. And all the time my expansion, this sukha here, my happiness here depends on something external. You know, it has to be like perfect circumstances and then I am happy. So, and we try all the time to achieve it. And when we achieve it finally, we lose it because it's temporary. And then look at your life, you will see it again and again, trying to hold something temporary, this temporary expansion, this sukham, but always failing and then always suffering. But this Ananda, this is not temporary. This is of the nature of this sva, because it is empty, because there is no suffering there, because there is no anger there, no shame, no regret, no struggle, nothing of the things that of the dukkha is there, nothing of the dukkha is there, then there is this eternal bliss, this unending bliss, which is not conditioned by outer circumstances. It doesn't matter if I succeeded or failed. This Ananda stays. It doesn't matter if I expand or contract. This Ananda stays. So the more we are established in this va, the more we know that this is us. We are in this Ananda. It's not this eternal bliss, but this bliss is not the apparent bliss. It's not the bliss of expansion or happiness that we usually seek for. It is a very quiet, profound, unchanging bliss from the fact that it is empty of all suffering. This is the idea of Ananda. So look how accurate these three characteristics of the who we are. Yeah, we are always there. We are sat. We are aware. And there is this emptiness of all the struggles. So there is this eternal bliss. Nice, huh? By the way, this the foundation, the Academic Foundation, this non-profit organization is named after this. Well, named after my grandmother, but is also the initial of Sacchidānanda in Hebrew. And if I translate this in English, it will be existence, knowledge or awareness, and bliss. Okay, let's see some questions. How it affects our actions. Anat, we're going to talk about this in a moment. And to be established in sva, is it a matter of practice? Okay, good question, Yeves. Well, we are always established in sva because we cannot be different than that. It is always there, and we are always that. So we are always established, but we don't always know, or we don't always remember that we are this sva, and then we have to practice, but this practice is very special. But it starts with first only discovering at all that there is this sva. Imagine that before we started to practice or to do this journey of Svadhyaya, we were completely sure that we are the temporary phenomena, that we were the body and the mind. So there was not even we were in complete avidya. There was not even the option to be something else. And then we started to do this investigation, and we realized, oh, there is a perceiver and there are phenomena perceived. And then we said, okay, let go, do vairagya on all the phenomena perceived. And then we realized this sva. And for a moment we have this, space and emptiness and freedom. And we realized this is our nature. So this was the process of first just identifying this place, realizing that there is, and realizing that this is us. And now we have to change our identity. We have to make sure we are established in that. And America says Ananda Maya, yes, is the name of the house in Estonia. Anyway, so now we have to be established, like it will become our identity, or what we can look at it as if we have to make a change in our identity. We have to change our identity, because if my identity stays as being Galit and all of this, but I know this place exists, you know, but I am still quite identified with the body and mind, then the process is not complete. So we must change our identification. And then to do that, we have to ask, how identities are created? How did we start to identify ourselves with different things? And when we check, we will see that identification is the result of action. It is only actions that we do on a regular basis that we start to identify ourselves with. For example, imagine two women giving birth. One of them giving the baby to adoption, one of them is raising the baby. Which of the two women will develop an identity of a mother? Both of them are mothers. Yeah, by definition, they are mothers. But which one will develop an identity of a mother? Only one of them. Only the one that is raising the child, only the one that is doing all the actions a mother do, starts to develop an identity of a mother. The other one is a mother, but since she is not doing any actions involved in raising the child, she will never develop an identity of a mother. So, and you can watch your identities, and you can see that all of them are action-based. Yeah, if you have the identity of a poet, it's because you are writing poems. If you have an identity of a yoga teacher, it's because you are teaching yoga. It was not there all the time. Even when you finished your yoga certificate, teacher certificate, you still didn't have the identity of a yoga teacher. It developed only after you have taught enough, then slowly, suddenly you realize, oh, I am a yoga teacher. So our actions, they create our identities. So if we want to start to identify ourselves with this big sva and not this little sva, it means that in this world we must start to act from this place and not from this place. And now, what is to act from here and what is to act from here? And all of us know it. To act from the little sva is to allow the mind to direct our life. And the mind has a very, well, we can say simple program. It's really like a computer program, simple program on which it is running. And it can run, but when our actions is run by the program of the mind, then our identity will be with the mind. And this program is very simple. It works on expansion and contraction, or dukkham and sukham. And when we feel dukkham, this contraction of the inner space, the action that we are going to take is to avoid. And if we experience sukham, this expansion, and the action we're going to take is to go towards, or to try to take, or to, I can say, desire. So if something caused me contraction, I'm going to avoid it. If something caused me to expand, I'm going to desire it, I'm going to take it. This is the way the mind works for all of us. And the more we let our mind create our actions, we will be identified with the mind. So how it looks in the daily life. For example, I was invited to, I don't know, a family dinner. and I feel dukkam because the other time I went there, it was not so nice. I feel dukkam, so I say no. I say, okay, I cannot come. But this is a decision of the mind. This is not my decision. This is part of the program of the mind, and now I avoid my family dinner because the mind had, or there was this experience of contraction, and then the automatic action to avoid. But this is the control of the mind, and then I will think, oh, I did it. This is me. I decided not to go. And then on the other hand, if something, if I had a nice time with, I don't know, no, I'm in bed and I want to get up, but it is so comfortable in bed, and then I will stay in bed, okay? And I will say, I chose to stay in bed, but actually this was again part of the automatic system because I had expansion. It was so nice and warm in the bed, and the desire or the action was, to stay in the bed. This was again the automatic action. So the more this automatic program is working, we are identified with the mind, and we can, I see it many times, the people say, I am a slave of the mind. I don't know who I am anymore. I have lost myself. Why? Because only the minds decide our action, and then our identification is more and more with the mind. If we want to change it, we have to start to act from this place which is aware. And then there is the whole art of karma yoga. Remember, in the whole process, we say after Svadhyaya, after we have realized this little self and how it works, and this big self, now we start to practice karma yoga. What is the karma yoga? Is to say, now we start to work, now we start to direct our actions from the big sva by using the little sva, by using our vehicle. And yoga says the mind is a horrible master because it creates a lot of suffering, but a wonderful servant. And this is the relationship we want to start to establish between the big sva and the little sva. And also in our investigation, we saw that everything here in Prakriti, in this world, in the perceived world, is there only to serve us. So also the mind is only there to serve us, and then we start to be the masters of the mind. And how do we practice this in daily life? We become aware from here, because we can be aware. We start to look at how the little sva works, and we start to be more and more aware of contractions and expansions, dukkha and sukham. We start to be more and more aware of the desire to avoid or the desire to take. Avoid, or this desire is not so good here. It should be to take. So we start to see that I want to stay more time in bed, and I don't want to go to my family dinner, and I see anxiety when I drive, and I see that I want to stop driving. I start to see all the automatic process of the sva, but I already know that I am the one that is perceiving. So I am different than all of that. Just like in the one-pointed concentration practice, I can see the mind going away, my attention goes away, but I know that I can bring it back. It doesn't matter what happens there. If I want, I can bring it back. It's the same here. I know that I am watching all of this, and that these actions don't have to take place. They don't have to become an action. Even if I want to avoid, I don't have to avoid. And even if I want to stay in bed longer, I don't have to stay in bed longer. I can act from a different place, or I can choose from a different place. And then we start to say, okay, from here we are aware of all of this. I can see my automatic reactions and actions that want to take place. I cannot cancel this. Contraction and expansion will always happen. You cannot cancel it. You cannot cancel the desire to avoid something or the desire to take something. This will always be. But in the practice of karma yoga, we start to say, we see all this, we become aware of this, but then we direct our attention from here, from the perceived, we direct the attention to the situation outside. Because we don't want to decide according to the little sva. We want to decide according to the situation outside, and we ask ourselves, what is the useful action? And then many times, this is so nice, we realize that, I don't want to go to my family dinner, but it is actually the useful action to go to the family dinner because I want to make my family ties stronger. So I'm going. And then, well, I want to stay in bed longer, but I want actually the more useful action will be to get up and practice because I want to take care of my system. So I'm getting up and practicing. And so we start to act from here, from this place that is aware from us, from this place. And we start to do actions. We practice actions that are useful. Useful for what? Useful for maintaining all this life. Useful for taking care of this sva, taking care of the body because it needs maintenance, taking care of our energy, taking care of our mind, like taking care of our car and our computer, being useful in my relationship, being useful in the environment. We start to just act from this aware place according to what is needed, what is useful, what is necessary to do, and not according to what we feel here in this little sva. And the more we do that, the more we start to realize, I would say differently, we less and less identify ourselves with the little sva because we see it has no power. It's not the one who is making the decisions. And we start to more and more identify ourselves with this big sva, with the perceiver, with the one that is directing and is using and is the master of all of this. And then our practice is no longer, well, we still practice on the mattress to, make the body strong and make the mind strong and all of that. But most of the practice in karma yoga goes into daily life. We start to practice our actions to be aware actions and not automatic action, or we can say manual actions and not automatic actions. And the more we do that, the more we start to identify ourselves with the big sva until one day it will be clear for us, oh, I am never this mind. I am always the perceiver, always the one who is unchanging and aware. And all of this can change, but my stability doesn't go away. And then the identity change. And from there, life will still happen. And sukha and dukkha will still happen. And things that we don't want to happen will happen. And things, but we will have stability all the time. And I can tell you that, and also not only stability, but also this ananda. Oh, it's no longer here, but yeah, ananda also. And I can tell you that in these crazy times that we're living now, a lot of changes were around us, and many people, their life conditions change and stuff. I can tell you that people that have been practicing this and have my students and other people's students, but practicing this knowledge and established in the big sva, experience this period like any other period throughout their lives, because they were not surprised to see things changing, and they were not surprised to see that what seemed to be stable is discovered or recognized as not stable, and all of that because they already knew everything, and they were stable in the middle of the mind with fear and whatever and uncertainty, but they didn't lose their stability. And it was wonderful for me to see how useful this teaching is and how important it is for our life to discover this sva and to find stability where stability is, to find freedom where freedom is. And then even here, if we are bound, because sometimes we are bound by regulations and laws and governments, we are still always free. Nobody can take this freedom from us. So this is why it's so important to practice this Svadhyaya. And if you remember in the beginning, we did the whole thing. We said it's tapas, the effort, and then the investigation, and we did the whole investigation. And now I invite you to continue the investigation, but also if you want to implement this action, this practice of action in the daily life, to start to watch the little sva, but take decisions from the big sva according to what is useful. And then the more we do that, eventually our identity changes completely, and we understand that we are this thing that cannot change, that is always stable, cannot be gained, cannot be lost. And we understand that we, because this is us, we can never change, we can never gain or lose anything. Gain and loss is here, success is failure is here. And then we start to go through this life in a very unselfish way, because we understand that we cannot gain or lose. Then our actions are no longer based on trying to gain something or trying to hold to something. Then we start to do the Ishvara Pranidhana. We just serve. We just, or the Bhakti Yoga. We just say, okay, we cannot gain and lose anything. Then we just use this life that we have to be useful, to serve others, and or the life. And to serve others doesn't mean to give them food, only to do our actions to be useful and to try to do things for the benefit of all creation. And since we are no longer selfish, because selfishness, even if exists here, and we know that we are completely different and empty of selfishness, then our actions are not bound by anything, and we can just live in the world in bhakti, in complete surrendering, using this body and mind to serve, but not looking for anything to gain, and not being upset when we lose, only continuing very steady to do our journey in life in complete bhakti, complete surrender. And also the Ishvara Pranidhana, we understand that all the things are the same, so we serve the same. We serve ourselves, we serve everything. We know how the things are, and that's it for the journey. So this is what is going to happen to you when you're very much established in the sva. Well, our time is up. So I hope it is clear. I think for the practice, maybe it is, of course, there is more to learn about, there is more to practice in the way of identifying all the little sva, all the temporary things, and then letting go, and sometimes just stay in this empty space, so you can continue practicing this. I find it very useful every morning to just, what I do, sometimes I just bring a lot of emotions. I look at all of them as objects, and then I say, okay, they're objects I can let go, and I find this empty place in front of all these emotions. And then when I go to the day, I go to the day already, to meet the day already from this conscious, aware place, and knowing that all the emotions are going to come and go, but I am stable. So this is a very good preparation to start the day with. And then you can do the practice the action to see. And yes, I think this is about it for this journey. I will be happy to hear from you. If you have any questions, please feel free to write, also as a comment to these videos. And if you don't know our podcast channel on Spotify, you can find it Galit Levin. If you search in Hebrew or in English, or Kaden Foundation, there are lots of lectures in English and in Hebrew that you can follow. And thank you, Rami, also. Hope you enjoyed this journey. And I think we can end here. Okay, so let's finish with a thank you. So just one moment, observe that you are the observer. And you can clearly see the condition of your mind or your state. And then bring your palms together, and we can say thank you for the pleasure of being here and practicing and studying together. And may the result of all this effort be for the benefit of all creation. Thank you very much for watching and being here. It was a pleasure. really, I hope you put it into practice. If you have questions, please contact me, and hopefully we will meet in for more seminars online. It's quite easy and fun, so why not? So thank you very much, and have a great weekend.